giving his life that many conversions are brought about, but it's different in Ireland. The Irish found monasteries and convents throughout the island and lived in a strict, organized lifestyles that embrace aesthetical practices. Their work helped ensure the survival of the ancient Greco-Roman literature and culture. So these are like little cities and educational centers where the heritage of the ancient world, the Greco-Roman world, is preserved through the copying of manuscripts. As that, so I have this little map here I found. It took me forever to find this. Dotted throughout all. I mean, look at how many different monasteries there are. It's a beautiful form of Christianity, but it's a very different form of Christianity than you'd find, say, in Rome, which is much more urban-based. So this is much more countryside-based, and the bishop is not typically the most important person. Who do you think would be the most important person in this style of Christianity? The abbot, right? So the abbot is a father to his spiritual monks. And the abbot is elected for life. And he is really to be a shepherd and to care for all of the monks who are his spiritual children. And so the abbot becomes a very powerful figure in owning land, as well as the fatherly care that he has over his subjects. The other thing, it's really brilliant here because these are educational centers, like they were Latin-based, so the people of the land don't know Latin, and you want to get a good education for your son or your daughter, so what do? You bring them to the monastery, right? And you say, little Johnny here wants to learn, and we want to get him reading and writing, and we want him to get to learn some things. And so you bring him in and you teach him, not just, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but you also teach him the faith as well, right? So they're evangelizing through these monasteries, and it's really quite brilliant. The lasting legacy, I think, of St. Patrick is that he created this huge generation of missionaries, St. Columba and all these various people, who regularly left the island and sailed to Scotland, Wales, the mainland there, in order to spread the faith. So we call Ireland the nursery of saints. So it's really where they were kind of born and nurtured, and then they went out and have helped evangelize the mainland Europe. And in doing so, they brought some of their peculiar practices with them, right? So you bring your customs and the way you practice your faith. And does anybody have any idea what I'm thinking right now? The one peculiar practice that the Irish brought, not to just mainland Europe, but it really took well and spread even to the present day that we like. Anybody a guess? They brought their form of confession. So let me explain this. So in the ancient church, confession, if you find confession hard to go to right now, it's nothing compared to what it used to be. So it used to be you would go, it was public, first of all, so you would confess to others what you did. Okay, I'm out right there, right? Additionally, you'd go to the bishop. And additionally, you would have to do some pretty serious penance, especially if it was a grave sin. And you typically just got one chance, right? So they did the forgiveness just one time. So you can imagine that you'd be really hesitant to go because you're like, I just get one chance. And you had to do your penance before you received absolution. And this isn't just like an Our Father and a Hail Mary. It's like sometimes months, right, of very, very strict penance, so that, they'll make sure your conversion is real. So the Irish, what they did is the monks would start going and sharing their problems and their struggles with other monks with the abbot. And it kind of started to look like confession. And the abbot starts to give absolution to his